Okay, we are going to start by going to File, Open, and I am going to drag all of the pictures that I downloaded into Photoshop. So I'm going to just grab the ostrich, the land. I'm just pressing Control as I click, the giraffe, and the clouds for now. So they'll all open on different tabs. So I'm going to be kind of going back and forth between the ostrich and the giraffes to get started. In Photoshop, we have different selection tools. So this is a selection tool. You can grab like the whole picture if you need to. Control D to deselect anytime something's selected and you want to unselect it. But look at underneath each selection tool, there are other selection tools. So there's a circular one, like if you were grabbing a moon or something like that, you could use the circle. And then I just want to point out, anytime you have something selected, if you go to image and adjustments, only what's selected will be affected. So you can do some kind of cool effects, kind of collage type effects by just grabbing different parts of the image and like changing the color and things like that. But we're not going to do that today. So I'm going to Control D and Control Z. I'm Control Zing all the time here to step back. So there's these selection tools. Your toolbar might also be fully open like this. Sometimes I make mine a double row by just clicking these double arrows, but there's also this selection tool, which is a quick, like you can quickly, messily kind of select things, the lasso. The polygonal one is kind of cool. If you have like a straight building or something you're selecting, it connects the dots in straight lines. You can kind of go back to where you started to do like a straight path. And then the magnetic lasso, we hardly ever use anymore because there's better tools available, but that sort of clings to the edge. But I don't think there's very often a purpose for that anymore, and it gets kind of out of control like this. So yeah, I don't really love that one anymore. Oops. Control D. Okay, so these are the main ones here though. The fourth one down, it looks like this, object selection. This is pretty cool. This is newer to Photoshop, but it kind of just, if you hover over, will grab the subject. But the other cool thing is once you're on this tool, and you have to be on this tool, you're going to see select subject appear at the top. And this does an amazing job as well. So I usually just go to the fourth selection panel down and then click select subject, and look, it's selected perfectly. So I'm going to just select the giraffes that way. I'm going to pop over and just show you one other selection tool here. Let's try it on the ostrich. So this one, like I said, you can hover over it too and click. That does a really good job as well. So then Control Z or Control D to deselect. This magic wand tool, so these are the other tools within the object selection tool. Magic wand generally will select something of the same value or color. That works really well if you have like a white background or something. And then the quick selection tool is the one I always used to use before they came up with the object selection. But this you click and you drag and it clings to the edge. That works really well for some things, but you can see if the object is a similar color to the background, then it struggles. So there's like a plus sign up here that will add selection. This one will minus and pop it back in. So it's like clicking and dragging for this. We're going to use that in just a minute, but I wanted to show you that as well. But for the most part, just clicking on any of these tools will bring up that select subject button, and that's going to work really well. Okay, so I have these selected, but now if I were to just copy and paste these, they're going to look like I cut them out with scissors and be really messy. So anytime you select a subject, you want to either right click and go to select and mask, or you want to go up to this top button, select and mask. And it's going to bring you into this whole window. If your screen is zoomed in too much and you can't see the OK button, you might need to go in your settings here and change I'm going into system and display. I put mine on 125%, so it zooms everything out a little so I can see all of my menus. It makes your screens all smaller, but I like to see all this. If you can't see that, you can do that, or you can just hit OK when you're done, or hit enter when you're done if you don't see the OK button. So here it's showing you our selection. And actually for this, I only want to grab the front giraffe. I don't want the back giraffe. So let's use these brushes on the side to do that. So This is your quick selection tool again. So it's going to cling to the edge of things for the most part. On the minus, it's going to take things away, but it kind of moves pretty quickly. It does a decent job. So I'm on the minus. Oh, let's see, then it did a little too much. So I can go back to the plus and bring it back. I also love this on the plus. It adds to the selection. It's just a solid brush. So the top one clings to the edges of things. This one's just a solid brush. You can make your brush really big, brackets on your keyboard, the ones next to the P, and just quickly erase, but it doesn't do a great job near the edges, so you have to be kind of careful. So we're just going to kind of get rid of as much as we can there. And then let's go back to the quick selection and just see. I'm going to put it on the minus. And see how that kind of clings pretty well. If it does too much, you just have to kind of switch it out. I'm not going to worry about the bottom of him because I'm going to end up erasing him anyway. So I also need to mention, I have mine on this bottom view. You might need to go through and change the view. And I like to look at it on different backgrounds to kind of see how the selection's looking. The black one's really obvious if parts are missing or things like that. Like I can see something's missing up here. Make my brush a little smaller and I can bring it back. Or I can come up here and kind of see a little better. I can see through. Okay, so once I have this, he's mostly there. I need to like work on his fur. There's this option that says refine hair. This is newer as well. I just click that a lot of times, and it kind of makes the ends of the hairs stand out. I didn't notice a whole lot with that. So there's also this little wispy brush. So the wispy brush, I'm going to make it kind of smaller with the left bracket. You could also change the size and hardness up here. But look, I can kind of go and dissolve that. If it does too much, go to the minus and take it away. But see, if you go along the edge of things with this, it'll really make it like blend up. Control Z, too much. So that looks pretty good. I just wanted the hairs. It kind of gets rid of the little color in between the hair, but it's struggling where there used to be a giraffe. If there was a background, it would be a little easier. So I think that looks pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect either because we're going to be putting it on a different background. The other thing is, let's look at it here. The radius, sometimes I drag this. This dissolves the edges just a little. And then you can go down here and do like smooth. Or I'm sorry, smooth is more for smooth objects. Like if you were selecting a moon or something. Feather is just going to make the edge a little fuzzy. I don't want to go overboard with this, but sometimes dragging it just a little will soften the edge. So when you're done with all of this, hit enter or OK. And now he's actually selected perfectly. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste him, Control C, and then come to the land and Control V. All right, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the ostrich. Select. See, it has trouble getting the wing there, so I'm going to go to Select and Mask. I'm going to go put it on this, and I'm going to bring back, actually, let's put it here so I can see the background. We need to bring back this wing. So it's kind of missing. Still little pieces here. Okay, and let's do the refine hair here because it does a pretty good job. And then we are going to use his little feet, so I'm going to go to the minus and kind of get, the ground is a similar color to his feet, so it's kind of not picking that up very well. But really, if you spend a lot of time on this, you could make this absolutely perfect. So solid brush, I can change it to the plus to bring things back. I think I might be missing a part of his foot here. Nope, Control Z, take it away. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now his feathers are looking a little rough, so I'm going to take that wispy brush and see how if I go along the edge, it gets rid of the background in between the little feathery edges. Just dissolves it a little. It looks a little more natural. You know, I'm actually going to get rid of the ostrich's head here in a minute, so. Like right here, need some help. Get rid of the green between the feathers. And that's going to look a lot more natural. Okay. And now I'm just going to, I could pull the radius a little, maybe feather it just a little, and then I'm going to hit OK. And I am going to copy, Control C, and paste. Now we're going to kind of merge these together.